Okay, I see people reposting the room already. Good job. Let's get some more people in here. Another night and talking about some important things going on. I just want to start out with the fact that we have 100 ambassadors right now. Aldo's been working on this like crazy, and Ray, and of course, Omega as well. So I want to commend everybody on that. But let's start getting people here on time and filling up this room. We got 33 people here right now. There's no reason we shouldn't have 80 plus. Aldo, go ahead, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Actually, I was kind of being on time. Sorry, I was a little bit late because I was just completing another process for an ambassador. We're going to go well over 100 tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, it's. Listen, I go back to when we had one ambassador, two ambassadors, three, and it's a short period of time. So I want to compliment not only the efforts from myself, but from my brother Ray and from my brother Obama, Omega, Bam, and all the ambassadors because it's what we do, and the people that are ambassadors are quality people. I want the community to know that. Each one is put through a rigorous KYC interview process, double and triple checked, to make sure that they understand the vision, they understand the product, they understand what the corporation is about, and they understand moving forward what needs to be done. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has contributed and keeps contributing. Um, Listen, it's we keep moving forward. I keep saying it, lightning speed. We are a lot of things coming out. We're going to get to a point where we may be at already, where there's so much of it that you miss stuff. That's why I say it's crucial to follow. I am Crypto Wolfie, to follow all the ambassadors, obviously to follow Chris on Twitter, to catch up, to know what's going on, and get the latest updates. We also now have a dedicated Discord for Dub Corporation. If you have not joined, there's going to be updates there as well. Join the Discord. The link is pinned in the main TG. If you cannot find it, then reach out to an ambassador. That's why we're here. We're here to serve you, the community, as Crypto Wolfie says, and Mike as well. We are here to serve you, to one of the best communities in crypto. I say it all the time, and I mean that 1000%. I'm going to leave it there. I know Chris has stuff to talk about. Please retweet the room. Please, let's do it all together. I'm going to do it again right now as I speak to you. Here we go. Boom. Done. See? How long did that take me? Literally, not even 2 seconds. It's done. All right. Talk to you soon, guys. Chris, over to you.
All right, Johnny, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Not bad, brother. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. What do you have to say?
None. It's just news after news, man. Once we kind of start to embrace what we get our hands on, something else drops, and it's just a daily thing nowadays. So I'm just still trying to grasp and wrap my mind around everything that's going on, and I'm looking forward to the future, man. And I want to give Aldo a big shout out and all the respect for all his strenuous work getting these ambassadors, man. 100 ambassadors, that's a milestone. So I think the next one is 150, and he's going to be going at it hard. I mean, we're at a pace that's unstoppable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we really are. Aldo, do you want to estimate how many more we'll have, or do you want to just leave it at that for now?
I estimate in the next couple of days. Listen, I know where I am at and where sort of Ray is at, and Omega as well. For me, I know that in the next few days I can onboard at least another 10, from various regions around the world. We've onboarded also now. We've started for youth. We've onboarded for the Dub Foundation ambassador. I have a couple of others in specialized sort of regions. We're expanding, and we're expanding and we're onboarding according to what we know is coming in the sense of what is needed, when it's needed, where it's needed, and so on and so forth. So, but I think I can do between 8 and 10 the next couple of days. We should be at 110, 115 ambassadors. There's a number I have in my head for a total, but we are trying to surpass that because it will be needed. So that's what I'm going to say on that.
I do want to apologize. You as well, Ray. You get all the respect and love too, brother. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to leave you hanging.
No, Ray is amazing, man. Ray, I just want to tap in and sorry to cut you off, Chris. Ray is amazing. So is my brother, Omega Bam. He is amazing. We are tirelessly trying to onboard quality people, like I said, but it also is a shout out to my brother and sister ambassadors who have also contributed by referring people, guiding them in the right direction. So, shout out to you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Just to give you a heads up, so like last night we had a pretty good crowd, right, live, but post show we had like 800 more listens. We went well over 1,000 listens on last night's show. And one thing I'm trying to do is keep it not too long, but not too short either, right? Like an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes. I think that's the best way to go because I think people, our time's being utilized. So a lot of us are really busy. A lot's going on. But look, I wanted to open this up tonight. You see the headline, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. You've seen some of Wolfie's tweets, right, where he's talking about how he was heading to Qatar and he was going to get some work done in Qatar. And so I'm going to give you some background behind what I know. What I know is that when they met with the people in Saudi Arabia, okay, over 3 days, Qatar understood that this was going on and they wanted to be a part of this the same way as Saudi Arabia. And that's a big deal because Qatar and Saudi Arabia haven't always worked together. So those countries haven't always been two countries to work together. But that's a big deal. For you guys that don't know about Qatar, Qatar, of course, hosted the World Cup recently. They have a lot of business going on there. There is some contacts that Wolfie has. And, we're going to see what develops out of that. But the understanding I got was that this came up in Saudi Arabia. The people of Qatar, or the Qataris, as the person I was talking to told me, they saw what was going on and they didn't want to miss out on this. So I believe we'll have an agreement in place with Qatar very soon as well. So you'll not only have the UAE and Saudi Arabia, but you'll also have Qatar. In the next probably 3 days or so, I'll have more information as well. But I just wanted to pass this on to you guys because it's a big development. So it's not just Saudi Arabia, Qatar now, and Wolfie went there for meetings. He doesn't go there for meetings just to talk. He goes there to put pen to paper for agreements. So now it looks like we got another country that's going to be a part of this. In terms of the details and how far that goes, I'm not really sure, but I can tell you that this didn't even get to the point where they got out of the meetings in Saudi Arabia. This was going on during the meetings in Saudi Arabia. Qatar was requesting a meeting when they understood, Saudi Arabia getting involved in this. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Dubx Exchange, which we talked about last night. While they've been in these meetings, this development team, these devs have been working on the Dubx Exchange the entire time and have gotten a lot done. And one of the features of that Dubx Exchange is the DEX on that. And I was talking to somebody who had viewed it, and they were saying it was state of the art and sophisticated, and that we'd be really impressed. So I just wanted to pass that along as well. I've had people, I had some people DM me last night. I know people want to DM me during the show when they can't speak, but it's really hard for me to DM back while hosting a show, even though we get breaks every now and then when somebody's speaking, because I'm trying to pay attention and make sure that we're covering everything, right? So one of the questions people asked me, they were like, with this IPO in Saudi Arabia, what role does Dubx play? So I want to reiterate this point because I think most understand it, but just in case you don't, I posted about this a little bit today. Dub Exchange, think of it like Binance, right? Binance has a native coin, which is BNB, right? That's used for everything. So the native coin of Dub Exchange is Dubx. Dubx is like the BNB of Binance. All right. So yeah, it does play a role in everything. And the Saudis are very interested in Dubx and Dub Exchange and the DEX and everything else. So um, yeah, more will come out with the IPO. Wolfie will talk about that, I'm sure. He's working on the meetings right now, especially Qatar. They just finished Saudi Arabia on Sunday. He went right into Qatar. So that shows you how pressing that was. But yeah, that's the role of Dubx. I've told you guys all along that Dubx was just the first step in everything they're doing with Dub Corporation. And so now I think it's becoming a little clearer exactly what the role of Dubx is. But there'll be more. Dubx is extremely important for all of you to understand. Aldo, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I hit the button by mistake, but I wanted to follow up on you were saying it because I tweeted about it too, and we're getting questions asked in the TG, like what's the role of the Dubx? It's exactly the way Chris explained, and the example given was perfect. It will be the native token of the Dub exchange and beyond. For those who asked the question, now you've heard it again. Uh, so that's exactly what it's going to be. People also have asked the question, well, what about Wolfie Inu? Wolfie will play a part in the ecosystem as well. I want to just say that. Because people have been asking, and I want it recorded on the space. So in case people listen back to it after, if they're not here, they can understand that Wolfie Inu itself will play a part within the ecosystem. And more details about that will be spread or given when the time is right. Um, but don't underestimate the team behind this. And I say this not lightly, I say this because you see maybe Wolfie going and meeting in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and or maybe other places, but there's a team behind. There's a team behind them that are sort of each separated to work on what they need to separate, instructed by the man himself, to get things done on a plan, on a schedule, and meet the milestone. As you've seen when he's tweeted something and then it's been executed. Um, I also want to mention for those who participated in the most active competition that was basically announced by Mike in one of the spaces. The winners have been selected by all the ambassadors. It was initially supposed to be one, but we had such a hard time picking the one person because everybody is so, and I say this wholeheartedly, so great, so tremendous in both on X and in RTG that we picked the top three. You can see the results in the main TG. The prize pool is 1 ETH worth of Dubx tokens, which will be split among the three, being 50%, 30%, 20%. It is posted in the main TG, so I want everybody to understand that that is there. That's been selected, and the winners will be airdropped within 24 to 36 hours. So not to fret about that. All right, thank you.
Good info, man. And the ambassadors are really picking up, and agreements are really picking up, and the development has been going on the whole time, is what I understand. So Dub Exchange, the DEX with Dub Exchange, the whole time they've been working on this, and it's not far away. I would say within a week, maybe less. I don't know. They got to have a final approval on it, but in terms of the infrastructure and what's built and the utility to be unveiled, it's all there. And that's what you can do when you have a multi-person dev team that's experienced and that can build this stuff out. So this was the plan for a long time, just to give you a heads up. But now, and what I believe too, is in these meetings they've showed, the Saudis, and they're showing, the Qataris, the progress that they've made from a development perspective, right? And then everything that they're planning on doing, and the financial backing they have, and when you show all that, that's why they're interested in this, and that's why they want to be in this early as it builds out. So I just wanted to give you some insight on that as well. Let's go to Aussie. Go ahead, Aussie.
G'day everyone, brothers and sisters. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Thanks for inviting me up to talk again. I just wanted to touch on some news which Mike posted last night for me in regards to the IPO and the Dub exchange being the People's Exchange was the way he worded it. A lot of people I've noticed in the past have confused the difference between owning cryptocurrency and that representing, ownership in shares of a company. And and what I read last night was mind-blowing, where he said that, the Dubx community will be able to participate in the IPO for microshares, which will be distributed in token form and will make you eligible for quarterly revenue share from Dubcorp. I don't know if everyone out there kind of understands like the importance or the impact of this news. Like, this is absolutely mind blowing. This is, as far as I can figure out, the first time that any blockchain based corporation has actually been able to translate, I guess, shares in the company through actual ownership of, tokens associated with that company. So that for the first time, I think ever, that gap has finally been bridged, and that takes, the whole industry like another step closer to realizing the tangibility of connecting blockchain and real, I guess, foundation roots of a corporation or a company, and then being able to, realize the token holders as actual shareholders. This is absolutely mind blowing for me. So, I don't know if there's anyone else that knows any more info on that, but I'd be, incredibly interested to see where this goes. This is an absolute game changer on as far as I'm concerned.
It is that I know of. You are correct. The first time I've seen this happen in crypto, and that was one of the messages that, when I was having my conversations the last few days, was, hey, look, this is going to be huge, because this has not been done in crypto, and this is different than anything we've ever seen, and this is an opportunity that we're not going to see, that we haven't seen before. Like, so this is what they mean by revolutionizing everything going on. So what's interesting to me, okay, is you got Saudi Arabia that agreed on everything. You got Qatar that wanted Wolfie to come face to face because they want to be a part of this. Who else is going to come aboard, right? Because this also has the support of the U.S. And I've said this going back a long time. I'm not going to get into like specifics, but just know that there are people in the U.S. supporting this, right? And backing this, including backing that meeting in Saudi Arabia. So they wanted that meeting to happen. They want this to create, an ecosystem. They want an ecosystem in the Middle East. They want an ecosystem where Dubai is the center of all of it in the world. And so, I put out a post earlier, and what I said was, who's supporting this right now? UAE, of course, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and now, the U.S. as well. The U.S. has always supported this, but I know for a fact the U.S. is supporting this. There were certain measures taken that are absolutely the case. So I won't get into specifics. I got to, keep everything private, but just know that that's also the case as well. So who else is going to be a part of this? Let's see what happens, right? Because Qatar and Saudi Arabia are major presences in the Middle East. Other countries probably are going to want to be involved too. Alder, what do you think?
Absolutely, 100%. And I say it all the time, and I tweet about it and write it in the TG. Guys, understand, we're not changing the game. We're redefining it. We're reshaping it. That's what people still don't understand. Failure is not an option. I will repeat it till the end. Failure here is not an option. The resources, credibility, sustainability behind this is unseen, is unheard of before, prior to this. That's what people need to start getting. That's what people need to start understanding. This is go big and that's it. It's not go big or go home. It's go big. That's it. When the mindset has been set, it's been set. That's it. That's all. And you see it every day. Every day as we move forward, bigger and bigger announcements. Which project, which launched 35, 36 days ago, give or take, is speaking of their own exchange? I'll wait for the answer because I know it already. None. Just that fact. Put aside Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all the other stuff. Just that fact. And what people fail to understand when we say, and Chris said it before, this is not financial advice. But the native token of said exchange is there. It's Dubx. And people say, well, how is it going to work? Well, guys, think of BNB with Binance. Think of any other exchange and their native token. Do you get where I'm going? And to me, this is mind-boggling that people still, and I look at some of the questions in TG, and thank you for asking them, by the way, and it's like, I think before I answer, and I'm going, wait, that person doesn't really understand. And I explain it because that is what I'm there to do, in part. But if I have to explain it a few times and you still don't get it, well, then there's nothing I can do. So please do your own research. Understand where we're at now. Understand where we're going. And understand where we are going to be. This is a corporation. This is a business. And Ozzy said it perfectly, my brother. This is unseen, unheard of, never been done before. And the good news is we're right here from day one, from day 10, on the ground floor. Make of it what you want. Make your choice based on what you know, what you've heard, what is facts, because we only speak facts here. We will never mislead you. We will never tell you if something is not true. You are free to ask any question. You are free to come up, grab the mic, and ask anything you want. And the question will be answered honestly 100%. And if there's something we can't tell you, please understand because there are legalities in place. And we will never risk anything to answer a question. But if we can and give you the information, we will. So please understand where you are right now. It is a fantastic place to be, in my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, and like some things will come out, right? And when they come out, like I'll talk about them, and then some things. What I will say is this: like with this whole meeting with Saudi Arabia, I knew that weeks in advance, but I was asked not to speak on it. So if it's sensitive information and I'm asked not to speak on it, I got to keep a lid on it, and that's hard because believe me, first thing I want to do 2 weeks ago, I would have loved to come on here and say, hey, there's this meeting coming up in Saudi Arabia, and it's going to have a lot of, important people at it, and I just want you to know where this is heading. Like, I would have loved to do that. I had to wait for the meeting to take place, and after the first day of the meeting, I was told, hey, you can talk about this now. But now it's gotten more aggressive in terms of, this is the information, and I'm getting it each day, and hey, go ahead and feel free to talk about this tonight. So Qatar is a major development. Saudi Arabia, when the details come out, that'll be even more. There's going to be utility, okay, in what they're doing, and utility that's going to be involved in multiple facets of the government in Saudi Arabia. Think of it like this. They have a need for it. They've had a need for it for quite some time, and they were looking for that to be implemented in crypto, blockchain specifically. That important. They need blockchain in order to handle certain segments of their economy and agriculture, and you'll see what I mean by that when the details come out. Johnny, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, just going to say with Dub Exchange, I mean, obviously there's a lot of exchanges out there, but with Dub Exchange being the UAE, it's going to be the trusted exchange for all these companies to do what they need to do. I think this is exactly what they've been waiting for. And I heard it before, like something as simple as like the marijuana industry. They track uh, everything from a seed all the way through growing to a sale through the blockchain. I mean, something similar to it, but they haven't been able to get it just right. So I think as far as these different sectors, I could see it going more that way, just tracking everything and just having a secure place where nothing can be hidden or lost. And I'm for it, man. I'm excited, and everything's just mind blowing at this point. And everybody right now, right here, we will reap the benefits of what's going on. This is groundbreaking stuff that we're involved in. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, tracking is a major part of utility, right? That needs to be done when you get into this. Let's go to Kenny, and then I'm gonna go to Aussie. Go ahead, Kenny.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Um, yeah, maybe this question is, or this, I'm just wondering. Maybe it's a little early. I know we've only been around now
Hey, we're having a
five,
really,
6 weeks.
really hard time hearing you. If you can speak in your phone, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm walking down Sixth Avenue in New York City here. A little loud, so I'm talking to the phone, but I'm just, I know we've only been around for about 4 or 5 weeks, maybe less, maybe a little more. And I think our holder base, is growing. I think we grew at least by more than 100 people in the last week. I think we have about 1,340 holders. Is there, maybe it's too early for this question, but I'm wondering, besides us getting word out, word of mouth, and crypto Twitter, has there been any talk of maybe of some kind of maybe a marketing plan to try to get it more out to
We covered this.
the
We
masses?
covered this 3 shows ago. If you can mute your mic, because your background's killing me. We covered this 3 shows ago. Mike was on here, Mike Sharia, and they formed a subsidiary within Dub Corporation that's going to handle all the marketing. So we covered this, I think it was like 4 days ago. So everything up to now has been our organic approach, letting people know about it. X platform, Telegram. We now have a Discord. It's been all the work we put in, but they have a subsidiary formed specifically for marketing, and they wanted it to be legal and compliant before they started the marketing push. So yes.
All right, beautiful. I got it. Beautiful. So okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. So they hired somebody to take around and work on some
No, they
marketing
didn't
plan in the
hire
future.
somebody. They formed a subsidiary of Dub Corporation to do it. I'm having a hard time hearing you, man. So I'm gonna have to mute you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, if it's not a good connection, it's hard for me to hear you, and I'm gonna have to until you get a better connection. That just goes for anybody. I don't want to diminish the quality of the show. Aussie, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to, I guess, expand a little bit more on what Johnny had to say in relation to, using blockchain, integrating blockchain technology for, tracking of logistics and assets and sales and basically, right the way through from end to end as far as supply chain goes. That's just one of, many applications that it can be put towards. But I think one of the more exciting aspects of the exchange announcement, and at this point, this is a lot of my own speculative theory, but if they're going to create an exchange which is based around a native token, that to me says, and then they want to integrate it into real world business organizations, banking and finance, then that means they need to effectively build an entire blockchain network for themselves, which is going to be ISO compliant. And and just take Binance, for example. Have a look at how many tokens are based around, Binance Smart Chain. So if we're going to end up with Dubx, some form of smart chain, then the just the exponential growth that's going to, ride that wave forward as people connect more and more further into the industry, just it totally blows my mind. Like it's impossible to just even conceive the potential for growth.
Yeah, I mean, based on the conversations I've had, what the Saudis were really interested in is blockchain. The blockchain component of this is exactly why they want to be a part of this. So yeah, I think you're bringing up really good points because it, I've said this for a long time, but countries need blockchain in order to move forward financially. They need that to do what they really want to accomplish. And in the Middle East, this hasn't. You don't have that. If you take something like VeChain, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with VeChain. VET's the symbol. VeChain is partnered with huge companies. BMW is one. There's some others too. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but VeChain has a utility that they use that's in countries throughout the world, Canada, the U.S. It's not present in the Middle East. So let's just put it that way. Let's go to Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'd just like to, excuse me, I have a cold, so I'm a little bit raspy, but I'd just like to reiterate one of the things that Aldo said, and that is, and I want everyone just to really think about this. If nothing else but the exchange alone with this native token, that would be so huge, but yet that's not where it ends. You have all these agreements, and we don't even I don't even know what the Qatar. I mean, we were given a briefing about Saudi Arabia, how that would cover health, agriculture, that would also cover oil and gas, which is huge. We haven't even been told yet what Qatar will bring, and I'm very excited, because I know that's going to come out. But here's what I want to say. Last point. They have been very, when I say they, the leadership here, Mike and Wolfie and everyone, they've been very generous in giving the information that they're allowed to give at this point due to NDAs and so forth. These are nuggets, and these are huge nuggets. I mean, I just want, sometimes, like, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I just want to say, do you realize what we have been given here? The information that has been given to us, this is like so revolutionary, and this is history in the making, and I cannot emphasize that enough. I'm like, I want to get on my soapbox and say, this is a gift. Take it, receive it. This is the future. It's now.
I think that we're at such a beginning stage that people are still having a hard time wrapping their heads around it. which I get, I understand. But as it comes out and you start to see a Dub exchange and you start to see a DEX and you start to see the IPO and you start to see, everything that's developing with Qatar as well, as this all starts to come out and you start to have investors and you start to have, people putting a lot of money into this, at that point, and then I think people will really start to understand. It's yeah.
Chris, when that exchange, when that exchange drops and launches, people are going to flip. I mean, in a good way, and that's when you're going to really, it's gonna sink in. Then at that point, wow, that's all I got to say. Thanks.
It might take that for people to realize what's going on. Um, we have people that are involved in this. We have people that want to talk about this. We have people that are kind of just watching from the outside. But a lot of you, I think until you actually see it, like right in front of your face, 1 inch in front of your face, aren't going to really understand. But there's a reason he's going on these meetings. There's a reason he's taking a flight to Saudi Arabia and sitting in 3 days of meetings. There's a reason he's going to Qatar for several hours of meetings. There's a reason you have, 3,700 employees in a corporation. All this is beyond what we've seen, and it's so early that I think people are looking at it going, okay, well, we're talking about it, let's see what it looks like. Well, I'm here telling you ahead of time what it's going to be and giving you all the information I can up to date. Now, other things will come out later, but I'm giving you the heads up because uh, the reality is I'm one of the only people that can talk about this. And out of the people that can talk about this, I'm the only one that hosts a show. So you have parties involved in these meetings, including Wolfie, right? But they don't host a show and they don't come on the mic and talk about it. So nobody else really knows what's going on. That's how, airtight this whole thing has been. And the meeting, just the meeting in Saudi Arabia, was a lot of planning and a lot of lining things up. And these were hours and hours of meetings. They broke it up into 3 days because there was so much to cover. And they were in agreement on everything. Everything. And the Saudis were very happy with the results of that meeting. Aldo, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, and going off what you said, Chris, is brilliant. Agree 1,000%. We said it from the get-go when the meetings were going on. We were getting snippets that the meetings went over and above what they expected. So that should tell you something right there. But going off of what Jeff said, so imagine now, the Dub exchange is coming. So imagine now it's sort of launched and it's the most trusted exchange in the Middle East. Let's put it that way. Now, what is the Middle East? Well, financially, resources, we know what it is. I don't have to say it or spell it out. The most trusted exchange in the Middle East. What's the native token? Dubx. Wow, what do we have right now? What are people trading? Dubx. On the most trusted exchange in the Middle East. Do I need to say more, Chris? I don't know. You tell me, brother. I and I say it this way because I keep getting asked the same question. I'm not trying to, be, make fun of it or make fun of someone or make the opportunity that's there staring at you in the face is what people saw. And I'll put it to you sort of this way. And I'm not making the comparison, but in many words I am. When Binance first came out and people saw BNB, and BNB was like, what, 30 cents, 20 cents, whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter, right? And then people said, well, BNB, what's that? What's the native token of Binance, which is, an exchange is just launched and it's backed by blah, 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 whatever. Let's move forward a few years. And then ask yourself that same question. again, it's not financial advice. I said it on the show the other day, and I said it on my show that I hosted on Sunday night. I want everybody to be well. I want everybody to have the information firsthand. I want everybody to understand what this is. I want everybody to share this information. That's why Chris records every one of his shows, and he encourages you to share the show even after it ends, because people need to know. People need a chance. People need a shot to be well in their lives. That's how I think. It's not reserved for a few. It's reserved for everyone that's willing to listen. It's reserved for everyone that's willing to share it with friends and families and everybody they know, because everybody deserves that shot, because we are all in this together. We all deserve it, and those around us deserve it. Whether they understand crypto or not, they deserve it. This is why there's tangibility to Dubx Corporation, because it will touch in a massive way into the real world, where people that do not understand crypto will understand it. And it is our job to empower them, to uplift them, to educate them, to maybe get a shot at something real. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, in the other thing I've emphasized in the past, I've said good things take time, and that's what I meant, because I'd known about this meeting for 2 weeks, and believe me, I wanted to talk on it, but I had to say good things take time, and there was a week where I did like 3 shows, right, and I did 3 or 4, I think it might have been 3, but bottom line is people were like, they didn't see me as active, and they were wondering what was going on. And I was having a lot of conversations behind the scenes, and I knew that once these meetings picked up, we were going to have a hell of a lot to talk about. So I was just kind of, taking it at a pace, because I knew the pace was going to ramp up. And that's important, because, as things come, you're going to know. And so that's, like I said last night, we're in a sense of urgency right now. And I'm reporting what's going on right now. I'm not even reporting what it's going to be. I've given you some of it that I can. But when it comes out, when Wolfie comes on the show and he starts talking and laying out the groundwork, and he, like he said, he's waiting for the green light. Once he gets the green light on this and he comes in and starts talking, it's going to ramp up even way more than it is now. Right now, I'm just kind of giving you a preview to what's coming. I'm talking what I can speak about right now, and doing the work while they're doing the work on the ground, right? So I'm in here talking to all of you guys and giving you as much information as I possibly can every time I open a show, and giving you updates, and encouraging you guys, letting you know that the work's paying off. Because even though we're moving at lightning speed, I think people are still waiting to see all the tangibility, right? Well, the tangibility is being built. And once he gets that green light and tells you everything they're going to implement and how it's going to be implemented, and he starts getting into specifics, you're going to need a notepad. And that's why I record these shows. And I'm letting you know ahead of time is what I'm doing. I'm giving you advance notice. So when this starts hitting, it's not like a surprise, right? Like, I don't want people to be like, hey, I didn't know this was coming. I had no idea. Look, I'm telling you what's coming right now. And, you guys that have been involved since the beginning deserve to know and be ahead of the game and be in the driver's seat. So I'm doing it for everybody's benefit. And things change so fast. I mean, I had talked about Saudi. There was so much going on in Saudi Arabia, and there were so many details that were being covered. The person I spoke with today was like, yeah, I forgot to tell you, Qatar came up in our meetings in Saudi Arabia, and they wanted to be involved in this too. So there you go. Imagine going through hours of meetings for 3 days and trying to cover everything that was discussed, and the agreements, and the IPO and the future and why the Saudis are interested in this, and then having me relay it to you. It's a lot. So we're doing our best to cover as much as possible. When Wolfie comes in here, what I like is Wolfie will cover it, and then, as you've seen in the past, I can ask Wolfie anything, and he'll just answer it. So, and they know that, and they know that the minute he comes on here, I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm going to get the answers, and so that's why they want everything to be, buttoned up exactly, the way they want it with this corporation before he comes on here and talks. Once he talks, you're going to get every answer imaginable. Aldo, anything to add?
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, it's he'll come on when he's got that green light, and he will speak on everything that he can. It's as simple as that, as he's done in the past. You guys have been here. I see the same people in here, and I see new people in here, and thank you for coming. That's why Chris and I both asked you to retweet the room when we start the show. That's what I just said before. People need to know. People deserve to know. They don't only deserve to know about the scams and the rug pulls and whatever and all that jazz that's all over CT, what we call crypto Twitter. They need to know when something is real. They need to know when they can actually analyze something, do their own research, and find something that will maybe forever change their lives and whatever that means to them. It's our mission. It's our duty to do so. And Crypto Wolfie will do that when he has that green light to answer any question. And he will, because he's done it before. Whatever question Chris may ask, or I may ask, or any of the members here, from ambassadors to community members. It's full transparency. If you look on Twitter now, he just tweeted not too long ago, I think it was the headline Dubx for the 100th time or something like that. People understand what he's doing. People understand what this is. People who don't like what this is understand even more, because the attention is being taken away from them. The attention economy, right? We've all heard that expression. They can't compete. They won't compete. Mark my words. Understand what I'm saying. They cannot compete. Check their tweets. Check the last time they were in Saudi Arabia or Qatar or anywhere else. And I'll wait for the answer, which I already know. Never. So they can't compete. We're at the infancy stage. Understand what I'm saying. We are at the infancy stage of this. Don't look at it only as a token. I say this a million times. Don't. Understand what the token represents. It's a product of Dubx Corporation. We all know what that utility or one of the utilities will be versus the exchange, Dubx Exchange. But do not make the mistake to look at this solely as that token. You are making a mistake, and I tell you directly. Look at the bigger picture. Take your time, ask the proper questions, do your research, hit that want to speak button, come up to the mic, ask the question, it will be answered. But if you look at this, and I say it again, only as a token, you are making a grave mistake. Thank you, Chris.
And I've said all along in posts and on the show that Dubx was just the first step in what Dubx Corporation is doing, right? So I hope you guys understand that. It is Dubx is extremely important, first of all, but it is the native coin of the Dubx exchange and the DEX. So think about that. It's needed in all transactions, right? So that's why you have to have Dubx to have everything that they're creating with Dubx Corporation. But the point I was making is that a lot of people just looked at this as just Dubx. Dubx is the first step in everything that they're integrating, blockchain-wise, other countries, exchange, DEX. So it's much, much more than that. Let's go to Aussie. Go ahead, Aussie.
Thanks, Chris. And to expand on, what my brother Aldo and Jeff also said there, and Chris, of course, that at the rate at which all of this news is coming through, it's just speeding up. It's getting faster and faster and faster, and I think it's important to communicate to, the broader community that, just because we're ambassadors doesn't mean we're getting secret inside information. We're getting the same information that's available to everyone in the community if they want to go and look for it. Like Jeff said, the news that's getting dropped, they're like giant Easter eggs, and there are so many of them that you have to write down the news as it drops. And then if I reflect back to yesterday when I think it was Sam who was speaking, he said you need to read between the lines. And that's what I'm doing. I'm putting together all the information. I'm going, okay, look, so there's an exchange coming. Great. And now we've got these connections with other industries, agriculture, oil, mining, gas, medical. All of these are getting connected together. Now, these are all individual pieces of information. But if you start to read in between the lines, there's only a certain number of ways that these industries and blockchain can all be incorporated. So if you have some fundamental understanding of blockchain technology and the industries, and if you have done your reading and research, then you'll start to put together your own chain of information, which starts to connect the dots. And that's why I said before, I'm just speculating when I talk about, whether they're going to create their own native blockchain, in which case they're going to have a coin, not a token. But once you start to read between those lines, the amount of news that you can actually glean from this kind of triples instantly. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, look, you're good to speculate on what you're speculating on. You're warm there. Let's just put it that way. So, the blockchain technology is what has everybody interested. They're not just looking at us trending on X platform with a Dubx symbol and seeing a telegram and seeing us hosting shows and going, yeah, I want to be a part of that. They're seeing the actual utility in the work that's being done. And that's the whole point I'm making to you guys. The developers have been doing the work the entire time. I mean, you saw how the pre-sale was handled. You saw how the launch was handled. Imagine them creating a Dove exchange. Imagine them creating a DEX. You've seen the level of work they do. So when they start to show this level of work to, the Saudis and the Qataris, that's the result. And the other thing we haven't mentioned in a long time that I want to remind you guys of is the AI component of this, right? These AI microchips that are going to come out between Q1 and Q2 of 2024. That's another component of this. So all these things he's touched on, he's giving more specific information when he's having these meetings with the Saudis and Qataris, and they're seeing it and seeing exactly what's been developed, and they want in. So although this hasn't become public to you guys yet, just understand when they see it, they're extremely impressed. And they're not getting involved in something unless they have a reason to be. So, Aldo, what do you want to add, man?
I mean, the writing is on the wall. I mean, come on, guys. It's Saudi Arabia. It's Qatar. It's the Middle East. And I just want to relay a message. Sam, if you're here, my brother, Ambassador Sam, please DM Omega Bam ASAP. He needs to speak to you. So I've relayed the message. But yeah, I mean, it's not child's play. I mean, obviously, we're not going to speak on the agreements, the details of it, but it has been said that agreements are in place with legalities and certain conditions and so on and so forth. But anybody who's doubting this, anybody who's questioning this, and they may not understand, the magnitude of this. I mean, it's Saudi Arabia, it's Qatar. It's the Middle East. It's I said it, redefining crypto, but redefining it in a way that will forever change it. And you're here. We're here. Look around the room. We're here. Ground floor. We've been here since day one. From 0 to 100 ambassadors. Lightning speed. Why? Because they are needed. Because we need more. Because that's what this is. Resources. Remember that word. Resources are key here. Tangibility is key here. Sustainability is key here. And I know I may be speaking in a cryptic way, but some understand. That's why Crypto Wolfie tweets few will understand. The writing is on the wall. Read between the lines. Use any of those expressions. And it's clear as day what this is, who this is, where this is going, and where you are at this stage of the game. Blessed. That's what I'll say. And beyond. And if you still don't get it, sorry, my brother and sister, there's nothing I can do. But I'll try and educate you as much as I can. I will try and empower you as much as I can. Because like I said, everybody deserves their shot. But you promised me one thing. All of you in here have to promise one thing. All the information we give you is factual, 100%. And most of you I know understand. But your promise to me and Chris and everybody else is that you will share this information so that others may have access to it because they deserve their shot as well. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, that's important because a lot of the people we've had on here, they didn't know me or they didn't know any of this. And they would come on and they would say to me, hey, when I came in here, it felt different. I liked what I was hearing, and they became a part of it. Whether it was Sam, whether it was Craig, whether it was Jeff. I mean, a lot of people in here didn't know us, and just happened to come in here and like the message and stuck with it and understood that they felt like things were different. So, if you're grateful for that, allow people to come in. Like I've always said, I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people to invest or buy into something or anything like that. The only thing I would say is just like, hey, come in and listen, and feel free to be a part of this. That doesn't mean they need to buy in. Let people buy in on their own time frame. Let people make their own decisions. I don't pressure anybody into anything. I want people to feel like they have their full autonomy. They can do their own research. They can look into things as much as they want. We're going to cover it more than anybody else because there's not a lot of information out there right now. There will be. That's what's coming. September, I told you guys, was going to be a big month. There were going to be a lot of catalysts and a lot going on. I stand by that statement. And I've also said a lot would happen in 2023, and it will. Formula One, UFC in Abu Dhabi, we've covered. I have to remind people of this because we've covered so much. Also, a Cytopro listing with Dubx. I think people have forgotten that. Saitama got to 7 billion market cap in the bull run. A lot of people forget that too because it kind of fell off after, but it did reach that at the height of the bull run. So, and I know we have some Saitama people that are in here. So I wanted to mention that as well. There's a lot more going on than people really realize. And I think when they start to actually see it implemented is when the light's going to go on. So we'll go about 5 more minutes here. I like to be consistent. I like to bring you guys in. I like to give you information as it comes as quick as I can. Johnny, you got anything to add, man?
Yeah, just a couple things I wanted to touch base on. The people that are sitting here trying to dox Wolfie clearly don't listen to your show as much as they should, because he's been on your show and he's explained himself and why he doesn't have his face on his profile picture. We know who Wolfie is. We don't care about. I just don't get why people think putting a face and a birthday and a name to him. We know who he is. You're wasting your time. We care about the character of the man, not the picture of the man. And he's done everything to prove to us that he's trustworthy. He's followed through with everything he's said he was going to do, and we'll continue to trust him and stand by him and do what we can to support him. So that as well. Another thing, I gave a shout out to Aldo. I gave a shout out to all the ambassadors, but I do want to give a shout out to you and thank you for running these shows as well, man, because you do put a lot of work and effort into what you do as well. So thank you. And then uh, give me a second because I forgot what the last thing was. So go ahead and jump to somebody else.
I appreciate it, man. I have hours of conversations per day before I do these shows. I don't just come on the mic and start shooting off the hip. I just want everybody to understand that. So it's that important to me. There's times I'll do a show and I'll have a conversation and okay, I can say this too. In 5 minutes before the show, you know what? Don't cover that part yet. I mean, it moves that fast. So, and there's times I'm getting voice messages while I'm doing the show, and I'm going, "Look, I can't listen right now. I'm hosting the show. Can you type it out to me?" So, like, that's how it moves. I mean, it moves like that, and sometimes you get messages and you got to interpret it. Okay, let me, specifically, what do you mean by this and this and this? It takes time, and we're in different time zones, and you get it. Like the challenges you guys face talking in the Telegram and coming together as a community are the same challenges I face and preparing for the show, right? Multiple times a week. And then scheduling, sometimes I have things I'm doing with work or I'm with my kids. And so I just want everybody to understand that, it's not, if it was just hosting a show, then that wouldn't be a lot of work, right? But when you're hosting a show and you have to do all the preparation for the show, that's what takes up my time. For every hour to hour and a half I'm on the show, 2 to 3 hours of preparation. Let's just put it that way. So, I care. It's important to me. Um, there was something else I was going to mention too. Oh, in terms of Wolfie's identity, look, I haven't been paying attention to anything going on. I'll just tell you that. I have been so focused on doing the work, right? That I'm posting on Dubx, having conversations, and then that's it. Like I'm not looking at any other. So I don't know what's going on in terms of people trying to dox him. What I will say is I've known his identity for over a month, and I know his background, and I know his work experience, and I know everything about the guy. And he's got a legit background with legit business experience, with legitimate work that he's done. And he does have a background in banking, and he does have a data analytics company, which he's said on this program. And he does have highly influential clients that he works with, that he's had business relationships with for many years. So, everything he said checks out on multiple levels, and not just based on what I've seen with his work experience, but based on people I've spoken to too. So, he has all this. When they put in the PDF, the white paper about crypto education and universities and using it with debit cards, he's done that in banking already. I've verifiable proof of that. I've seen it. He's done this. This isn't like something he just started doing a few months ago. He's done this for years. In terms of, I mean, everything they had in there, he has experience doing at a business level, and not just in one country, throughout multiple countries in the Middle East. I want to make sure when I say this, but I believe he said that the bank he has worked with was operating in 4 countries in the Middle East. I know it was at least 3, but I believe it was 4. So just to give you some insight, a lot of people, come on and they listen, but going back a month or more, I remember all this stuff from a month or more, and every detail is important in this to understand exactly where we're heading. Aldo, final words, my friend.
All right. just to piggyback off of what you and Johnny were saying. So here's the irony to me. So you post whatever you post about Crypto Wolf, and you make the man look like he's one of the top executives in the entire world, which is, by the way, true, because Chris just said it. He just sort of named what and where he comes from. And in your mind, you think that's fun? If you would have said, well, the man behind Dubx Corporation is a crack addict or whatever the hell, right? Then I understand. But you're actually proving the point that he comes on the show and tells everybody, this is who I am. So how in the hell is that fun? Man, I would repost that a million times. Yeah, this is who he is. Wow. You just opened people's eyes. The guy behind Dubx Corporation is a billionaire, according to your words. And you expect people to say, oh, I'm not going to touch that. Are you crazy? Like, seriously. That's what I mean when I say they cannot do what we do. They don't know how. They're not able. They don't understand it. It's as simple as that. And my second point, if you're listening, or if you're going to listen to it, if you want people to take you seriously, why don't you dox yourself? If you believe in what you're posting, then dox yourself. Come out of the shadows. Like we all have, all the ambassadors, Chris, and everybody else. We have meetings with video cameras so people know who we are. So if you want to be taken seriously, then that's what you do. Because I know what you're posting is garbage. But in your garbage, you're actually valuing the project up. So thank you, by the way. So I wanted to say that, Chris. I wanted to just make that point. But on a more serious note, day 35, 36, I know that there's a lot more coming. I know. And I say this not because I'm privileged. I do have meetings. I do have meetings with certain individuals. I speak to my brother, Omega Bam, namely because of ambassadors, but we do sort of talk about other stuff. And I will end it by, I don't want to be like I'm preaching, but I will end it whereby I am truly blessed to be here. I'm truly blessed to have discovered not only the corporation as a whole, the products, but the family that I've built with my brothers and sisters, and that will get bigger. I'm truly blessed to be beside Chris, who has taken me under his wing and has shown me what hosting a show is and co-hosting with him. And I will forever be grateful for that. I'm truly blessed to be able to communicate with one of the greatest communities in crypto. And I say that because it's true, because I see the level of questions that are being asked and the answers that are being given by community members besides the ambassadors. So that should tell all of us that we're where we need to be. That should tell all of us that we are in something that is completely different than what we're used to. We are in something that will potentially change our lives. And again, for whatever you want that to be for you. We are in something that has sustainability. We are in something that has credibility. We are in something that has resources. And we are in this together. So that's why we implore you to share it. When the show starts, When the show ends, share it. Give others a chance. Give others an opportunity to understand what we understand. Give others a chance to acquire the knowledge that we have acquired, so then they may share it and make somebody else's life better. Even if it's one person, even if one person by all the shares comes in here and makes a positive change in their life, that will be one of the greatest feelings you will ever feel in your life, because you've empowered somebody, you've bettered somebody's life. And that is your responsibility, not only by being in this product or project or corporation, but as a human being. That's how I look at it. So I've shared this with everybody, and I keep sharing this with everybody. And I keep learning from everybody, and I keep sharing that knowledge every time I have an interview conversation with a potential ambassador, a friend, a family member, or everybody. We all need to do that, not only to grow our community, but because it's the right thing to do. Remember, we're not changing the game, my brothers and sisters. We are reshaping the game for the better, forever, to the next level, for the next era of crypto. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this too because I haven't seen it, and like I've gotten to a point where I don't even care what other people are saying. If they're trying to FUD this guy Wolfie, we'll call him Wolfie, and say that he's a billionaire, I've known for months, and I say months, not 1 month, that he is a billionaire. I know for a fact that is not speculation that he is a billionaire, and it's not like he's tried to hide things, guys. He's told you he comes from money, going back to his grandfather's father, but it's what he's done with his background, right? Like he's CEO of a bank, he owns a data analytics company, he has trusted clientele that has money and influence that he's worked with. So, I mean, like, they can say whatever the hell they want as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. Yeah, he does have, he you know, and this is the thing. People will talk like they have a lot of money. I mean, there's this guy that raised, what, 22 million in a pre-sale, and he thinks he's the greatest thing that's ever come on crypto. And that's why I was laughing this entire time. I'm like, this guy, Wolfie, makes a guy with a 22 million pre-sale look like a kid at a candy store, right? So now you know, like, why you have people worshiping a guy because he got people to donate money to a ETH address, right, and did nothing with it other than create 100,000 followers on Twitter, and it hasn't produced anything of value. Yeah, they've had times things have gone up and then people dump it, and this guy's acting like he's the man. There's people that and Wolfie being one of them, that make 22 million look like a drop in the bucket, guys. So he does have the connections in multiple countries. He does have the business experience, the professional contacts, and the financial backing. And it's not just his money. I think this is an important point here. Yes, he has money, but he has people with money that want to be a part of this. And people, I said last night, I know for a fact there's somebody that's going to invest $1 million plus into this. That's only one person. There's going to be several more, in my opinion. Now, that's an opinion on several more. But I can tell you for sure there is one I know of, verified, that already wants to do that. So I think that more will come. But yeah, people that think they've made it, that have a few million or even 10 million. Look, I want everybody to succeed. I'm not hating on anybody. If you've made a few million or 10 million, congratulations, right? I think you've done really well. But don't act like you're the greatest thing out there. There are people that have so much more than that and have done so much more with it and created jobs and opportunities for people. Dub Corporation, 3,700 employees, you know. That's people's livelihoods. That's how they support families. That's how I look at this. I don't look at this just in terms of somebody being worth more. I look at it in terms of what are they contributing to the world? You know, how are they employing people? Are they doing good things? Are they building something? He's using money and his professionalism and contacts to create mass adoption in crypto and, you know, create something tangible for all of us. Aldo and I have said all along, he doesn't need to do this, right? Now you know what I mean by that. I mean, think about it. How many of you would be motivated to take on something like this from the ground up if you had that kind of money? That's the whole point all along. This isn't about the money. This was never about the money. This was about creating a legacy and creating an ecosystem that's never been created and creating that crypto presence in the Middle East, which doesn't have it right now. Yeah, you have developers, you have Binance in Dubai, you have, you know, these things going on. Dubai's growing. Dubai is going to be a huge crypto presence, but not what he's wanting to create. And a lot of people wouldn't be motivated to do it in his position because they wouldn't need to. Like you really have to have a greater purpose than money to do something like this. Aldo, anything you want to add before we close?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right, Chris. I mean, it's you know, it's he doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to do this. He's doing it because he is one of us. He has been one of us amongst us as a crypto head. That's what I call us, right? And he's fed up like the rest of them, you know. But the difference is that he comes from a world where he comes from, business, namely, and he has the resources and the credibility to change it forever for everybody. You don't understand how tirelessly he works. I do. Chris does. Omega Bam does. The ambassadors do. The community, some of them do. But the rest of us, or the rest of them that will benefit from it, they still have no idea. He does not sleep. I'm telling you, he does not sleep. He is so laser focused that it's incredible to watch. It is. Now go back to what Chris just said, where he comes from. Does he really need to do it? Ask yourself that question. And then from that, determine why he's doing it. For you, for me, for Chris, for Johnny, for everybody. That's why he's doing it. Because like the rest of us, he's fed up. Like the rest of us, he said enough is enough. Like the rest of us, he sees what's out there, and he sees the people getting hurt, and he sees the people getting hurt to the point where money is being taken out of their pockets, food is being taken off of their family's table, and he says, you know what? Enough is enough. But he needs all of us together, collectively, as a family, as a team, to push this forward, to make this happen. And he will back us 1,000%. But he's on the go 24/7. Proof is in the pudding, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and wherever else. So understand that. Next time you feel like I'm not going to put out this tweet, or I'm not going to repost the room, or I'm not going to repost this tweet, ask yourself that question. Remember the words I've just spoken. Why he's doing it. Because he doesn't need to do it. That I can guarantee you 1,000%. Doesn't need it. Will never need it. Did not need it. But he's doing it. At lightning speed. To get this done and to get rid of that garbage that's there now. And excuse my words. That's why he's doing it. To get rid of it once and for all of us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you for listening. Please let's do our duty to push this forward. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you, community. I care about each and every one of you, and I will do my part from early in the morning to late at night because that is what I have decided to do. So thank you all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And another good show. And I'm sure we'll get more information. So we got 2 in already this week. We'll continue to move along, man. And we're continuing to grow too. And I just want everybody to be mindful of the fact that when it comes and you see it, then you're going to see what I mean. I'm just trying to give everybody a head start. That's all I'm doing. So thanks for being here. It's great to have everybody here. We're going to keep working at it. We are a force, and people will recognize that more each day. So if you get tired, I get it. You know, pace yourself. Don't kill yourself doing this. You know, if it's a few posts a day, do a few posts a day. You know, but don't get to the point where it's all you do. You got to have balance. This is a race, but it's not a race that you're going to run as a sprint. You know, moderate pace. Don't overextend yourself. Just want to make sure everybody understands that. Some of you, this might be your first time in something, right? For me, I've done this. And if you go to the point that you wear yourself out, you're going to lose your voice, you're going to lose your focus, you're going to lose your sleep. And then all of a sudden, you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to feel like doing anything. So don't get to that point. Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody to start reading between the lines. I mean, this isn't something that was just started in a basement. I'm going to drop a V1 coin and see where it goes and then rug it. Mike jumped on the other day and said that the Saudi Arabia meetings have been gone, like they've been talking about it for months. And then being that we dropped, 35, 36 days ago, this is all a plan. It's all written. It's just a strategy that Wolfie's following. Um, there's a lot more to this. Just because we don't know about it or we don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not there. Everything is formulated. We're just at the beginning of it, and there's a lot to come. And thanks, Chris, for hosting this, Aldo for co-hosting, everybody that spoke, all the ambassadors, everybody here. Y'all have a good night. Love every single one of you, and just stay on your hustle. Get on the grind. This is a job. Let's get our money.
Yeah, we'll be good, man. I mean, everything's going to come. Like, just when things come out and it starts to pick up even more, you'll see what I mean. I'm very confident in that. And I'm very confident in these meetings that they held, and we'll have more details come out on Qatar. But what I wanted to tell all of you tonight was Qatar wanted to get involved right away when they saw what was going on in Saudi Arabia. So understand that this wasn't like something that just came along. They were aware of what was going on, and they saw 3 days of meetings in Saudi Arabia, and they wanted to be a part of this. And so it's a really good development. All right. Have a great night. Thanks for coming on. Just be mindful. The best days are ahead. They're coming. Have a great night. Thanks. Thank you for your time again.
All right, brother.
Yep.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
everyone.
Chris.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chris.
brothers and sisters.